I've got it, that's it. You're out.
This is what a dying society looks like.
This is a normal ritual.
Was Midwest FurFest 2022 safe? And should you go in 2023? I do hope the con will do more in addressing those kinds of people attending. This is Eric the Cat, an MFF attendee who passed the first challenge before the con started. There was criticism that MFF wasn't taking action against attendees who intimately abuse animals. Back on October 2nd, Motorsko, aka Kroas, made a now deleted tweet showcasing someone who states, "All zoo room in the main hotel acquired," along with them showcasing Pomaxes and saying, "Let the real stickering fun begin." The tweet at the con stating, "You need to take some form of direct action against zoo." This was met with criticism from those believing Korest has a vanguard against MFF. Cap's Corner theorized that Korest isn't trying to get a few unknown zoos banned, but make an example of MFF to go, "See this? If you don't ban zoo, your convention will die." Meanwhile, One Rad Chi argues that they initiate a smear campaign against MFF. The Potato Kana is taken over by zoos. Sovereign saw similarities to a similar situation with Texas Furry Fiesta, where attendees were demanding a problematic person be banned and started harassing the board of directors for seemingly not addressing the situation. Behind the scenes, there are systems in place that aren't made part to prevent defamation lawsuits from occurring. All I can say, if they are there, they'll make their feelings known, because we all know acting up can get you banned. This is Amar Wolf, best known for the Furry Times blog, also an MFF 2022 attendee. This isn't the first time MFF has dealt with problematic people. In 2019, far-right political commentator Mao Yiannopoulos attended to attend, but was publicly banned shortly after and threatened to go regardless. I was lucky to get a room, but from the sheer amount of people who didn't get rooms and how some even dropped the con as a direct result, it seemed quite difficult to get a room. Due to the con's rapid growth, there are more attendees than available hotel rooms. In 2019, the hotel lottery was implemented, allowing those who can't sign up immediately to have the chance of obtaining a room. However, despite this seemingly good improvement, there were complaints by attendees that didn't get a room. There are more in 2019 and 2022 compared to 2021, suggesting more demand for those rooms during those years. MFS has tried to address these concerns by adding more hotels to the room block, going from 6 in 2019 and 2021 to 7 in 2022. However, this is still behind Anthrocons 12 in the same year. Unlike Anthrocon though, MFF has more hotels in total, including those outside of the room blocks. Although they aren't subject to room pricing and may have limited availability. I was in line for about 40 to 50 minutes, but I showed up fairly early. People who didn't show up that early would have certainly been in line for longer than that. Well, Eric was lucky, many times weren't. The longest I heard anyone wait was around 4 hours. Most believe larger cons result in longer badge lines. However, this is wrong. Staff and volunteer numbers determine how time it takes for you to get a badge. You might then think pandemic staff related shortages caused this. While cons during the pandemic lost their members due to losing jobs, people are getting affected, and deaths, new staff members were found. Along with this, attendees have stepped up to volunteer. At the 2022 closing ceremony, they announced 100 attendees volunteered for 600 hours. With more attendees volunteering, they made up for the lack of staff members, and it showed. Given previous years where 7+ hours were common, nothing short of a miracle. While these problems may not be deal breakers for most attendees, the next 3 incidents at MFF go from inconvenient to deadly. I briefly saw a couple of instances of hotel staff getting attitudes. There were 2 incidents involving harassing attendees, one from security and another from protesters. At the start for us at 9:34 p.m., Sorko stated, "We got some racial profiling already." Kenta was in fursuit and he put his hands on him. The security guard wanted them to move, but Kenta had a fursuit and couldn't hurt him, so he was shoved without giving any time to do so. They weren't obscuring or blocking any paths, being in the spot that often had people standing in previous years. At first, Kenta didn't raise his voice. When they tried to walk away, the security guard followed them and shouting. Sorko started and stopped recording as he didn't want to be seen to prevent the security guard from changing their tone or getting angry at them while recording. The security guard claimed to have the incident on tape, although never show it. On December 2nd at 6:18 p.m., Arexu Alex stated, "The carrying signs like, this is not normal. This is what a dying society looks like. And saying things like trans people groom kids." Taskmaster at 6:35 states they have been yelling slurs at people. At 6:52, 6 chefs tweeted a clear picture of the 2 protesters. Notice a second protester sweatshirt says Trump on it. That bird guy asked to hold the signs, and at 7:28 p.m. posted a picture now on another sign saying, "Furries are gay." At the con itself, nothing. The staff was super friendly. For the first incident, MFS swiftly responded an hour later at 10:30 p.m. saying, "Thank you for documenting. We have shared this with convention security." As for the 2 protesters, Castman states they have already been kicked from the con. Wolfman security eventually came in, likely in response to complaints from attendees. While it's not known why the security guy acted so aggressively towards a furry, there's a good explanation for the protesters. Since 2021, a transphobic conspiracy theory pushed by conservative and far-right media outlets and personalities states that schools are providing litter boxes for furries to attack them for enacting transgender protections. With any large cons, there will always be these incidents, but they were handled appropriately here. Getting water was fairly easy, but finding where it was difficult due to the crowd. Also, tweeted a statement regarding the problems with MFF staff and water. They were at a Raven and went outside because they felt sick and they wanted to use the bathroom in case they were. They went and thought to walk back to their room because they were exerting a lot of energy at the rate dancing. They were drinking water here and there, but seemingly not enough, so they decided to head to the Hellas Lounge, which was in walking distance. When they were there were two staff members, one out of Fursuiter and another in, telling them they couldn't enter as it was closed. They asked for water, knowing they needed it, and would grab and go. After the normal staff members stated no, and SUT having to beg, they really stated, "Let me ask inside." The staff members stayed there for a few minutes without coming out or grabbing the water. Now their face was red, feeling hot, dizzy, and nauseous. Knowing that they normally don't have these issues, suspecting they were suffering heat stroke. He then turned to the staff member wearing a fursuit and asked the same question. I'll just go in. They went in to get the water and left, with the other staff member staring at them the entire time. They noticed how ashamed they were, having to sit outside for a while before going back to their room. There were a lot of ambulances at the convention center. They believe this is due to staff and volunteers' bad attitudes, not getting trained out to look for heat exhaustion and heat stroke, and not prioritizing water at the con. MFF responded saying, "We'll make sure our volunteers can improve from this next year." How was your experience at MFF 2022?
Mostly positive. There were obviously some things that could have been better, but I had a great time overall.
While there aren't any direct dangers that face a significant amount of attendees, there were some incidents and concerns that range from manageable to deadly. MFF needs to address them for next year to ensure that attendees continue up a great con experience. Given everything that happened this year, and assuming you have the money and time off, would you attend next year?
I am a diehard MFF fan. I went 1 year after nearly dying months earlier. Nothing can stop me from attending.
Despite all these difficulties, Midwest FurFest 2022 saw 13,641 attendees, which is a 46.2% increase from 2021 and a 23.8% increase from the 2019 peak. While I do believe this year is a success in terms of attendee numbers and attendee counts, there's more to success than those two metrics. If you want to know more about Midwest FurFest, check 40 facts you didn't know about the con.